Welcome to the Nordic Mythology podcast. I'm Daniel Farrand under the company Horns of Odin. As always, I do have to plug our Patreon, but I do want to get into today's show, so I'm going to keep it nice and short. If you like the podcast, please go and check out Patreon /Nordic Mythology podcast. It starts from £3 a month. You get a bonus episode every single week in the form of our Q&A, where we sit down with our guests. We let you ask questions. A lot of the time, there's a ton of extra material in there, and we have one of those for every episode. So if you sign up today, you get the whole back catalogue. You can check it out. Patreon doesn't tie you in. There's no contract. There's no tie-ins. You can literally sign up, listen to them all, and cancel if you want. I don't advise you do that, but you could. And that's it. If not, 5-star rating, wherever you get your podcast, like, share, bell, all those things. But I'm super excited to get into today's episode. It is our 250th show. I can't believe we made it this far. First, I would like to introduce my lovely co-host and in-house archaeologist, because God forbid I ever forget to say that, Margrethe.
Hi, everyone. 250. Let's go.
Absolutely. And then our lovely guest today is Magnus Bruun. You will know Magnus from playing the antagonist, the lovely antagonist, Cnut of Northumbria in the TV show The Last Kingdom, and Eivor. And you also voice, I don't know if voice is fair. I feel like it's like a voice and act, Eivor in the Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, I also do all of the performance capture for the character. So it's
So is it motion capture?
It's the whole, yeah.
I have now just recently learned the term mocap. Would that be the right way to say it?
Yeah, mocap, motion capture, nice. Or PCAP, performance capture.
Ooh, didn't know there was a difference. Interesting.
Well, I believe, and there's a lot of people going, but this means this and this means that. But I believe that performance capture is when you actually capture all of it, the body, the body, voice, facial expressions, all of it, where mocap could be more of, say, a lot of the stuff they do in Baldur's Gate 3, where you have a lot of choices and the character can do all kinds of stuff. Then they're standing... they're doing a lot of the mocap alone in a studio with just the sound engineers and the directors. Whereas when you do huge scenes for cinematics or cut scenes in a big video game, then it's performance capture, because you capture the whole performance of it. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think.
Meaning
right.
that there are more of you, like all at the actors and everyone are together.
Yeah. When we did Assassin's Creed, I was in most of all, if not all, cutscenes in the game, and I was acting out with a lot of lovely Canadian actors who later would have Norwegian or British voice actors giving them a voice. But also we were a cast of, I believe, 5 or 6 in the main cast, who was flown in from Europe to play Basim and Sigurd and important characters, Alfred, in the game, and we did all of those scenes. So that you shoot the scenes just like you would shoot a real scene in a television show or film, but you would be wearing motion capture or performance capture suits, which are these black spandex suits with dots all over, and you would have a head mount with 3 or 4 cameras on it to get all the micro expressions from your face, and then you would also have dots either painted or put on your face, so they can already there get it all into the computer. Wow. And then we were shooting in this huge soundstage with 100 cameras in the ceiling, and normally there would be 2 or 3 camera operatives walking around with cameras filming, as well as getting the faces from the head mounts. So they would get it from so many different angles. So it's also, so you can, when you are in the game, you can turn the camera around. You always have...
Sure, of course, yeah.
And that's because it's filmed that way. So you can get all of that.
Wow.
That has to be so different to I don't know, is conventional acting even a thing? But that what most people would consider, just a filming for a TV show or a movie, that has to be similar in ways, but so different.
Yeah, it was quite weird in the beginning. This was my first video game and my first ever motion capture anything. And I had just finished shooting The Last Kingdom. I was just been killed off in that show, and a week later, I was on a plane to Canada, and the first thing they did was to shave. I did it myself. Shave off my beard.
That would be awkward if they just shaved you.
Yeah. What are you doing?
You got there. They had
no, not the beard.
Some sheep shearing scissors. Oh well, the razor.
No, but so they took they took the look out. I looked like a Viking, and they took the beard off, and there was no costumes. I was used to being in this brilliant armor and leather and fur and skins and shit on a big horse, and with hair extensions and face tattoos and scars and
like beads and stuff. And
beard jewelry, all of that, and then just all of that off, no beard, and put on a spandex suit like you doing aerobics in the 80s, and then now go Viking hero. Like, but you stripped me.
That has to be very. I don't know if I don't know if revealing is the right word, but kind of exposing, but not literally, but you've gone from like having everything that I assume almost must give a form of confidence, and that you're in the role. I bet it's easier to get into the character when you have the clothes on versus here's a leotard, off you go.
Yeah, definitely. Also, because when I've been in makeup for 2 hours and costume for half an hour, and we'll put on like a big black stallion, and I had 20 stunt guys on horses behind me and an army of extras. I kind of looked the part. I didn't really have to do much. I could actually just say the lines. And when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's like, shit. I'm fucking Cnut, motherfucker. Where it helps a lot when you get the costume on. It always helps because you kind of land in your character. So it kind of felt like, and I've been talking to a lot of actors about this, the whole motion capture thing. It feels sort of like shooting the rehearsal, because when you're doing the rehearsals, you don't have the costumes on. Maybe you will be. You're wearing the jacket today just to find out if it's too heavy. Can you do the moves? Can you fight in this? Or so it's not the real sword, but you're going to have that. All stuff like that will be going on. But you would be doing just when you're doing a stage play, you would figure it all out, but just rehearsing, but you're just filming it. So it's because you never get to look like the Viking. They will do that in the game. So
it's more like when it comes to the appearance, it's more like very much so like theater of the mind. Like I am the Viking in my mind, even though I'm wearing spandex and a trillion dots. I am super Viking.
And I'm in this big sort of empty soundstage where just the box is here. That's your horse. And
yes, of course. What else would it be?
the sandbags here. You jump over those. Those are stones. And when I move this stick with a tennis ball on it, that's your raven moves. So you talk to that now. Okay, shit. Yeah. You need to figure that out, and then I think it took me a couple of days to just get in. Okay, this is, and then after that, it's just okay. Everything is possible here. You don't need to have 100 extras. You don't have to wait for light. You don't have to do anything. If you just believe in the shit you're doing, if you've rehearsed and you know what you're doing, it's all there. Just give it your best. And when you look at the cinematics in the game, it's like, it's all there. Especially the best of them. It's like, that is exactly what I imagined, and it works out. That is when I lower my voice. That is when I turn around. That is when I get sad or mad or whatever. It's like, they caught it all and they animated it and it works. And if you just believe in that, then it's so easy because you can actually shoot a lot. You can do much more because of all the cameras and all of that. And yeah, I remember there was some scene where, oh shit, well, we didn't get that from that angle. And normally you would have to reshoot the whole shit. And I remember just one of the technicians went, oh, wait a minute. Hey, and then just turned from the camera, the takes, like, we can just switch the angles of the actors. And then, well, we have it from here. Cool, we don't have to, like, what? You can just turn the whole shoot without shooting it? Yeah, because we have it from, like, okay, that is easy.
Do you think that TV shows could learn something from that? And do you think it's maybe something that the gap might close and they may use each other's things?
I think they're already using some of it, but it's and you also can get into all the AI and all that. But this is when you animate everything, and you're not just acting in front of a green screen. It's all of it is getting animated. So if you want to do something. For me, it's something real that when you're watching it and it's real people touching each other, smashing stuff. And if it's too much animation, sometimes unless that's like the contract you make, this is an animated film, then I can just lean back and go and cry and feel and all of that. But if when you do both things and you don't, if it's not perfect, then for me, it just if the CGI is bad, like that's the whole movie is like nah.
Like the margin of error is just significantly smaller because if anything is off.
Yeah, the uncanny valley it's like it's so little when you no, I don't believe it. He was almost human to me, and then that happened, or it's the same with like some of the the huge fights in just take Marvel movies or just other big Godzilla, big monster movies. When you're just looking at a giant monkey and a giant monster beating each other, and it's all CGI. There's no human interaction, and you have some humans in the background or like watching it. It's like, I don't really care. I would love to care, but it's just computer beating computer, and I'm not really feeling it. Exactly. That is my opinion. Because obviously, if you have invested in that fucking monkey, like you love that monkey, or if you made a spiritual or emotional connection to a character, animated or not, it doesn't matter. But it's so easy to get me just
the suspension of disbelief. It's like
this. There's the fucking sharks in Gladiator 2. It's like, ruined that scene.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet.
I gotta admit, I haven't been able to see it either because I'm like, I really, really love to because I love all those actors, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, I don't want to not like it.
Yeah, I saw the trailer, and this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer, and they kind of said that it was Maximus's son in the trailer, and I was like, why have you done that? You didn't have to say that. You didn't have to put that out there in the show. Why can I have waited till I saw the movie? And little stuff like that really frustrates me. So it kind of put me off going to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of I don't want to talk bad about because
no, they might hire you one day. So you
no, it's not about that. There's a lot of brilliant film workers working on that film. A lot of brilliant actors. All of that. There's just some decisions that I disagree with, and to put great white sharks in the Colosseum, it kind of blew it for me. It's like, how did you get? Okay, you put water in there for the first. It's like, I'm not okay. I'll try to buy that. We made that contract, whatever. Have you traveled? Yeah, but not at the same time. The day after there was it doesn't matter.
That's the thing. But they've taken an aspect that's real, and then they always take it that a little bit too far.
Yeah, and if they say I believe that, but how did they get 20 great whites traveled alive in what huge water tanks in the Roman Empire from wherever you would find those sharks into the Colosseum and just put them? It's like crocodiles. I bought crocodiles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense. Not sharks. Come on, man. Like, but yeah, that's.
Because then what happens is that instead of being invested in the scene, what ends up happening is that you sit there and go, huh? And or oh, come on, and then you lose your investment, like the way that you were invested in what was currently going on. So there's stuff that you're going to miss.
Yeah, I can't remember what happened in that scene. They were fighting, and somebody got eaten by a shark, and I believe the good guys won. But I was just, I don't care. I don't care now. Next scene. Let's. I need to get back to
something
believing
real.
The story. So, but that's yeah.
How do you find that when it comes to acting, say in The Last Kingdom, where you can touch and be up close with, and you're doing an intimate scene or an emotional scene, and you can have that physical contact, which brings that kind of closeness, versus in Assassin's Creed, where I assume with all the equipment on, the headdress on, you don't have that physical contact that you may be able to kind of draw from?
Well, you weren't able to be closer than this. There was like, I don't know, 50 centimeters. You had to be 50 centimeters from each other, because otherwise your head mount would hit the other one, and they would shout, "Cut for technical, Magnus, cut." Yeah, no, it's me again. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because
Whoops.
because I like to get close and be like, but you can't just like, if you want to hug somebody, you just say you're doing a kiss, you would just stand like this and kiss, and then afterwards they would put the faces together in post, like, because
and now kiss.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be how they would do it, and that's again is one of those things where my mind had to be okay. How do okay, fine, I can work with that, but I need my mind and my body just needed to get that contract in, like, okay, this is how it works. Cool.
Yeah, it's like the adjustment of the new way of doing stuff.
Yeah. And sometimes you would do stuff without the head mount, because it would be too physical, and then it would just be ruined anyway. And then you would then film all the violence or whatever, and then afterwards you would do it again with the head mount, but not do all the violence, just act all the violence, like turning on. Then you would do all the motions, but not really. Just how would that? Just if you're recording audio, but for the face and the expressions and all of that.
So is that? It seems like it's done in 3 parts almost. You have the action of you doing it, then your facial expressions of doing the action, and then later you would do the sound, and they just get put together.
Yeah, but most of the cinematics they're using the raw sound from the takes.
Okay, right, okay.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
So this is there wouldn't be any ADR from just maybe if something fucked up, like a line or something like that, but they're using the raw takes from that. So that is not, there's no additional recording stuff on most of them. Yeah, obviously Cecilia, who plays female Eivor, would do ADR on it, because I did all the motion capture.
ADR, what does that mean?
Additional is additional sound recordings. It's
okay, so like when you do it in a studio type thing.
So and when you do it on film, like so.
Okay.
When you're not just recording for something to be animated, but when you're recording you're making changes in recording, or you're like dubbing stuff.
Okay.
That's how they get around a lot of stuff in films when they find out they have 2 hours too much film, and that's like it can only be 1.5 hours, and we have 4 hours of films, so they cut it all down, and therefore missing a lot of story. So how can we put the important stuff in it? And that is when say there's a dialogue going on, and when I have my back to the camera talking to the lead actress, I would then ADR something. Yeah, but did you hear about what happened down at the supermarket? They died. And then, because then that beat and story, we don't need to see that, but then we get that in.
I'm with you.
That is also what you use ADR for, but normally it's because we've been filming outside and the sound is rubbish because of wind, or because it rained, or somebody's mic was, or whatever, the boom didn't function. It can be all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I just Googled it. It's automated dialogue replacement.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
I was just curious because I hadn't heard that
not what
abbreviation.
I said.
I mean, but I
Close
think
enough.
what you said got me closer to understanding it immediately than I would have.
I've seen that used on TV shows before, and I think sometimes it can really miss with me. In a game and things like that, I'm sure it's used all the time and I never notice it. But I've noticed it sometimes where there's a host hosting a TV show and they'll maybe miss a line, or there's something they need to say, and they'll kind of add it in when they're just showing the back of the host. But the sound and the pitch and everything is just off.
Slightly different. Yeah.
To the rest of the sentence, and it just kind of like changes. And I'm like, you've added that in. That's a bit off.
There's a lot of nice techniques that not everybody are using.
I'm sure.
Normally it's good to then try to record the whole sentence. So you're speaking over yourself, listening to say, the next day in the park we had to go there, and you have to and we did. You have to add that to that line. So instead of just saying "and we did" and then put that on, you would then say the whole line. And the next day in the park, we had to go there, and we did. Because then you will get like you're trying to just ad lib yourself, and then you just put the end on it, and then it's it sounds better. This is getting very technical.
But I love this.
This is a podcast for nerds, don't worry. No, it's a podcast for nerds. This is right up their street, don't you worry. So you're doing the physical side of things, and I guess it feels as though there's so many different aspects versus, again, like The Last Kingdom. I do want to get onto The Last Kingdom because I do love that show, but with the Assassin's Creed side of things, again, you've got the acting, because you've got the cinematic stuff which picks everything up, but then that's only a small part of the game. A lot of it is just you walking around, riding a horse around, running, fighting, all the sound that comes with that, the swimming noises, the running when you're tired, and all these little things that I guess you have to just. Do you stand in a studio and just pretend to drown, or pretend to sprint? Do they put you on a treadmill? How does that work?
Well,
do they drown you?
I've no. Thank God. But I did. I remember being in a studio and having some water, like to do some kind of sound. But there's a lot of I have had days of recordings. I remember. I think I had 2 days in Montreal just recording those sounds, where it's like you're climbing up the side of the cliffs from the water, so you're wet, all your armor is wet, it's heavy, so you're climbing up, okay, making those sounds. Okay, we do it again. Then you do 3 of those, then do it again. This time you have an arrow that hits you in your leg. So you can't use your legs. How does that sound? It's even heavy. Okay, now the arrow is in your belly. or so you just kept putting on stuff, and so done like hundreds and hundreds of takes of different kind of injuries, or you're almost drowning, but you're not. And now you're drowning. How did that sound? How does it sound when you go into a burning building? And you get out. Now you're almost dying of the flames and the smoke, and just coughing for 20 minutes, just different small nuances so that when you are playing the game and you do stuff and you do the same stuff, it's another sound. So you don't have to you just don't hear the same sound every time you hit somebody. If it would always be when you use your axe.
Yeah, well, that's how it used to be probably when we were kids. That's the kind of games.
Exactly. I remember, like, I think it was Warcraft. I played a lot of Warcraft when I was young. And when you pushed on one of the orcs too many times, he would then say this and then that, like, stop poking me. And that was like the three things the orcs could say, whatever you did, but that was the three things. And I think Eivor has like hundreds of different takes for it. So it feels like when you put your headset on and you're just playing, it's a real character.
It's more immersive.
So this is a human that then if you do this, you'll hear something. You don't know what's coming. And I think that works out pretty well in the game.
I did my homework today for once, and I listened to some interviews with you. And I think you said in one that was there 13,000 lines you had to record or something, somewhere around that?
I think I was told I've recorded more than 15,000 lines.
That is a colossal amount of lines.
It's a good chunk.
Yeah, that's a fucking chunk.
I don't think I've said 13,000 lines my entire life.
Well, I think you have, but
Dan's not great at math. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Dan.
I'm not great at speaking a lot of the time.
But mind you, I also play Odin in it, and also play Harvey in it. Not Harvey. Well, that's the same. Varin, Eivor's father. So Odin has a lot of lines, and also the whole Dawn of Ragnarok DLC, which is almost just another game, that is included in this, and that is mainly Harvey and Odin. So there's but yeah, 15,000 lines for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
That's intense.
That's a lot.
Very impressive.
Yeah, I remember Darby McDivitt, a good friend of mine, and he was the narrative director of Valhalla. He said it's sort of the equivalent of if you play the main character in a television show, and there's 20 episodes in each season, and there's 10 seasons of it, and you are in every scene in every episode of all 10 seasons. That is how much text and storyline your character have in this game.
And that would be recorded over 10 years, say. And I bet you recorded these lines in, I don't know, maybe a few months. I'm not sure.
No, we more than that. I worked on Assassin's Creed for nearly 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
But only full-time 1 year. That was making the game when I was casted in it, and yes, that was doing motion capture in Montreal for 8 days a month, and then fly back, do 3 weeks of sound recordings, and then fly back, and then they would have set up the new cinematics we were shooting, and then back 3 weeks, back and forth for.
Hang on, did you stay in Denmark for 3 weeks, then go to Montreal for 1 week, a month?
Yeah.
For a year?
8 days. Yeah, most of a year, yeah.
That is wow, I am impressed. Because that, having lived on the other side of the Atlantic myself, that trip can be kind of tough. So props. Holy crap.
Do you mean the jet lag or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was all right. I found out it didn't work for me too, because we would start rehearsing on Monday. It didn't work for me if I landed Sunday. I would be too fucked up Monday. So after the first trip over there, we changed it so I would land Saturday at some point. So to have 1.5 days to just sort of get my head right.
And become a person again. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it would have a week of being sort of jet lagged. And then when okay, now I'm good. I would fly back. And then like, oh, fuck me. But what you won't do for the lovely art.
That's it, yeah. So did you record the audio stuff? Did they put you in a studio near your house? I was curious how that worked. I was thinking of it today because you said you came back and forward, so I didn't know whether maybe they just sent you somewhere, give you like a book to read.
The plan was for the two Eivors to shoot most of the voiceovers in London and Montreal.
Oh, okay.
But when we started filming the motion capture, they hadn't found the female Eivor yet.
Mm-hmm.
They'd had a lot of great actresses on for castings and recastings, and they just hadn't found that voice that they wanted for the character. It's so specific for video games, the voice. If it's just a nuance, it's just something in it that you can't then it can't be that character. Then it can't be that actor. It's so specific, and they hadn't found her yet. And I remember we were going to a restaurant after a shooting day, and they talked about still haven't found her. And I said, I know a great lot of Danish great voice actors. Do you want me to make a list? And I can recommend somebody. Yeah, please. And I made a list of 5. I believe it was 5 people, and Cecilia, who got the part, was number 1 on that list. So I think they talked to her and did some sort of audition with her while she was on her balcony. Like, I can't remember the whole story, but because she was something with kids and all kinds of, and they just went, "That's the voice we need."
Wow.
And then they.
I hope she bought you a beer.
Yeah. Well, she did. We had a lovely lunch.
Good. It's the least you deserve.
Yeah, but we I think this business, we need to help each other all the time. But we were talking about recordings, and because she was also Danish, they found out that it was actually cheaper and easier to just have us recording in Denmark, and then fly 3 a sound director and an editor and all the people they needed, fly them to Denmark for 3 weeks. That was easier and cheaper.
Oh wow!
It's because when you it's not me being a diva. It's just when our
I know where you're going with this.
No, but our agents, they do good shit, you know.
Yeah, of course.
And which means that having me for 3 weeks in Canada, it's way more expensive than having 3 employees that they pay.
Yeah.
Already, have them flown to Denmark. It's just.
Yeah, even just the hotel rooms will be completely different, I imagine. The food allowance, all that stuff will be.
So I think they figured out that is easier and more convenient. Also, that was so great because I had, with kids, like, it's so easy to just drive into the studio and do 4 hours and then go back to being a dad instead of being away.
Yeah.
All the time. So that, for me, that was brilliant. And also because we had the whole setup when COVID hit, which is it.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
While we were making the game, we already had the setup. So
Yeah, I guess that's really lucky that you were at home, close. You weren't stuck away, and you could
yeah,
keep going with it. I guess.
yeah, because I would just drive into a great studio in Copenhagen,
Hmm.
and everything would be closed. All the city would be closed down, and I would be the only one. They opened the whole big studio with a lot of different studios in it, and opened it only for me and Sebastian Vasquio, my good friend, and the sound engineer from Denmark.
Hmm.
We would just be there in two different rooms, and like I would have like rubber gloves on, and there would be a lot of sanitizer spray, and we would just record. And then instead of having the Canadian guys in the room, or in the room next to, they would be sat at home in
Hmm.
Montreal or wherever they were, and being on Teams, and then we
Yeah.
would just record that way.
Wow.
Yeah,
Does that take you out of it even more? Because you're already, I guess, removed without having all the makeup on, all the clothing, being in the environment of like other actors, but now you're in a studio, but even more kind of removed with this bizarre situation going on. Or do you just get used to it?
you quite fast get used to it. Also,
Hmm.
we already knew how to work. I had this brilliant voice director called Thor Bishoprick, Canadian dude, who's just brilliant. So we figured out how to work, and how we wanted it together, so we could easily take that online instead of have because we knew how to interact. We knew how to do it.
Hmm.
And at that point, I've been working on the character for, I don't know, 8 months or something like that. So we were there. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like, how can I sound like this? It wasn't like that. It was just like, okay, let's go into it. Welcome to the
Right.
Raving Clan. Just let you know. Let's just do this shit. We can do it.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like we could keep talking about Assassin's Creed for. I've still got so many questions that I want to ask you just about the making process, but I want to get to the Last Kingdom because I love the
Let's
show.
let's talk about the wonderful happy camper character I played in that show.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, I think the comparative of the two experiences as well, because it seems as though Last Kingdom was an extremely fun set. We've had Arnis on here before. Alex has been on here a couple of times, and they're both seem like very amazing, genuine people. The bond between Arnis, Mark, and Alex seemed very close, and I wonder how that expanded out into the overall cast and with yourself obviously coming in at season 3 and then that rolling on. It seemed like a really special place to work.
It really was. And just like Assassin's Creed, this was just my first international gig at
Oh,
all.
okay.
So I had quite a lot of experience coming from just the Danish films and televisions, and a lot of theater, but I hadn't been working abroad yet. And this was a wonderful start,
What a
because
roll to land.
yeah, exactly. Like shit. You have it like I had thought it would be like the guy with the letter going, "So, Lord, here's your letter," and then being shot or something like that. That was one scene. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
in the show.
I had a line.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah. See,
yeah, yeah. Oh, and the line was cut, but they saw the back of
Whatever.
my head.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I
somebody
mean,
somebody voiced it, but it's all right.
Mhm.
But
obviously before
no,
just before you go down that, I'll definitely come back to it. You literally made me think. Then you went from obviously primarily being in Denmark and doing theatre. Then you went to The Last Kingdom, having a good, solid role on that, a great character, to then Assassin's Creed, this huge franchise, AAA game. That's a fucking impressive leap.
yeah, yeah. It's that was something else.
Yeah.
But I was Yeah, I was lucky. The whole cruise was really had a family feeling, I would say. People are so nice to each other. And it also helps. It was shot in Budapest, and it helps when they're moving all of cast and the UK crew. They live together. Maybe not in the same hotel or the same apartments, but they live. We are all on location. Mm-hmm. People not going home to their families, or we're stuck in Budapest, which means that people not necessarily have to, but they will interact more because you get lonely. We've been shooting for long scenes in the cold, and maybe you want to go home and go to the spa or whatever, but you also want to have dinner, and you might not want to just sit in your room or in your apartment alone. So you go out and you interact with each other, and you get drunk on the weekends, or go out dancing, and you do stuff. And that helps the whole family connection. And because we were a lot of Scandinavians on the show, we could stick together.
Nice.
And we were almost always there at the same time, because they would shoot us in blocks. So they would say, all of the stuff that's happening with the Vikings now, we'll shoot that these 3 weeks. So all of the Vikings would be, all the Danes and Scandi people would be there at the same time, so we could hang out. And obviously, Mark and Arnes and Alex would be there all the time. And wherever Utrecht was, that is, you have, if he was staying in Dunholm for a whole episode or whatever, it's like, yeah, well then all the Scandi actors would be staying in Budapest for a month. So it depends on if he then he's going to Winchester. Okay, cool. Then goodbye. I'm going back to my family now. So then we would leave. But there was a great bond. I really like all the actors from the show, and I see them as that's also why you have some of these Last Kingdom conventions and stuff.
Yeah,
we love to go to them because we hang out again. It's like, yeah,
and you get to see each other.
Doing?
Yeah,
Because the chance of working together is small. And suddenly you can have a weekend. I went to Paris a couple of months back for a weekend in Paris with my old friends. Like, that's wonderful. You know? That's just that is really nice. And if I hated the crew and the cast and the show, or like that wasn't a good experience, I wouldn't fucking set my foot at a convention with those people. But I love them. So it's so easy. And that's nice.
Do you think that was made easier because Alex might actually be the nicest person in the world? So he just kind of brings everyone together. And I've told this on here a few times. When I met Alex, I made a horn for him at one of the MCM Comic Cons that I met you at, and he just tore his ACL, and the organizers gave him the horn. And it was at the other side of the XL. It's a huge venue, busy on a Saturday. And I didn't really think much of it. And then the crowds kind of opened up, and Alex is in a wheelchair with Eliza Butterworth pushing him through. And he requested a wheelchair to come over specifically just to say thank you for the horn that I made. And he took the time to kind of have a chat with us and went back to his hotel room, took a picture with the horn, sent it as. Ultimately, I ended up making some horns for the Last Kingdom off the back of it, and we still keep in touch and chat every now and then. And it's like, it's such a lovely experience, and he seems like such a genuine guy. Like, he's popped on here a few times, and he seems like a glue that really helped hold all these characters and actors together.
He is an incredible, nice guy. He really is. Yeah, so I can't say anything else. He's really nice and sweet and professional and good, and yeah. So it's just he was a joy to work with, really. Also, he is, when you have the number one on the call sheet, like the A-lister or whatever. The people playing the lead character in television shows or films, for that sake. If that person treats the crew good, and want to go out and have dinner and invite people to do whatever, that drips down on the rest of the production. Mm-hmm. But you can also be in productions where you don't even remember, don't talk to her, because he said no, don't and just do the lines in the scene and don't do but you can, all kinds of stuff can happen. It's like, why? Like, but some people have their reasons, and sometimes it's genuine because they just lost their mom or whatever. But there's also just a lot of fucking shit. Mm. Like, no, I'm important, and I don't like extras coming and saying hi, and like, yeah, but then you chose the wrong work.
Yeah,
friend.
Yeah,
it's obviously you need to be focused and could do all of that stuff, but you also it's a workplace, man.
Yeah,
you can't do your shit without all of these fucking people. Mm-hmm. And so I remember on my last day of, I think that was season 3, I had she wasn't a PA, but a personal assistant, but she was sort of the actress PA. She was helping out a lot during the whole season with bringing coffee and making sure we were here. And we're going to set now, and all getting us into cars and all kinds of stuff. And I remember she said to me, "Oh, Magnus, it's been such a great pleasure working for you." And I said, "No, with."
Oh.
Yeah.
That will have meant the world to her. Just that small interaction of you saying that, I imagine, will have meant everything, because not everybody will take the time to do that.
But I don't know. She was so cool, but it's just nice and sweet, and 20 something, like doing a big production, and I just if they think they're working for that we need to erase that, and this is a joint production. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have a director, and the director is more important than an extra. And there's the pay gap and all that, but if there's no extras, well, good luck shooting that huge battle scene.
Yeah, and also if that PA doesn't get all of you guys in the car at the right time, then there's a delay. So super important work, like all the little things, all the tiny little cogwheels that makes the machine go around.
Yeah, coordinators and drivers, and there's so many people working on these productions that you don't see or hear about. And Alex, he knew all the chauffeurs' names. I remember that. Like,
oh wow, yeah,
he won massive green flag.
Yeah, definitely, such a huge green flag. I just remember all of them. Fuck me, but then again, okay, he'd been there for 2 years, and I just started. So, but again, like I didn't get all the names of the chauffeurs. I definitely got a couple of them, the ones that I worked most with, but and and again, he's on every day for the whole. So it's important also for him. But someone would just say no and just I don't care. I don't give a fuck. Yeah,
there's a certain amount of care in the fact that you either like take the time to learn them, or you have a really good kind of head for names, and you make sure that you keep track, like taking the time out of your day to making sure that that shows a certain amount of care, I would think.
It also helps that you are on top of your own shit, because if you're not, then it's harder to show that extra energy to just embrace it all. I was really nervous in the beginning.
I bet.
Because the huge gig and shit, man, they can fire me. They can just choose another one. Did they just choose me because I had a big beard, or I looked the part, or am I good enough? All kinds of worry came into my head when I was shooting the scenes in the first couple of weeks. So obviously, if you're dealing with that, then you might not have all the energy in the world to learn all the sound guys' last name and family business. And also, English is my second language, so I'm also working double time because I'm translating and doing and trying to, and also dialect and also all kinds of stuff. So everybody has their own stuff to work with, and you don't know. So and that's why I always encourage people to ask instead of just judge. Like, but you don't. Right now you're saying he must be such a whatever. It's like, oh, she is a, but you don't know. All kinds of stuff could have.
You never know
happened.
what people have got going on. You never know what's happened in somebody's life or in a day. I think that's something we all need to be a bit more mindful of. Is just compassion towards people. Maybe somebody might be an asshole, and maybe it's not the best way that they should have handled a situation, but they could have had a really, really, really bad day, and something awful could have happened, and it could have handled it better, but maybe in this instance they didn't. And it's just being a bit kinder to ourselves and to everybody else around.
And maybe just ask, are you all right? How are you doing? Is something bothering you? Whatever it is. And if they just go, fuck off, oh, maybe he is an asshole then. Like, cool. But it could be, I don't know. It's just, I'm really, there's something happened to my son in school last week, or you don't know what's my wife's mom just, or you don't know.
Being a Brit though, every shop we go in, we're like, hi, how are you? And you could be having the fucking worst day in the world. It could be, your life could be falling apart, and somebody says, how are you? And you're like, yeah, perfect, great, I'm fine. That's the answer that we always give. We're fine.
It's the same in the US.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
And I challenge it sometimes because I think it's fun. It's like, oh, how are you doing? Or how's your day, sir? Or whatever. Well, let's talk about my day. I'm actually not. It's like, and you can just see like anxiety starting, going, oh, fuck. But you asked me. And here I am. You would be my barkeep now, and let's talk this out.
Yeah. What was it like playing? I guess I don't necessarily think Cnut was a baddie, but let's go with that. Like say
antagonist.
Yeah, the antagonist, the kind of opposite to Uhtred in a way.
Well, I try to not look at the characters being like the antagonist or the baddie, or because I need to defend this character with my life. So for me, Cnut was very ambitious. That was, and his ambition led him to doing some stuff that some people would dislike. But then again,
it was a different time.
Back in the day,
it was a different time.
Yeah, it was a different time. You could say stuff. You could do stuff. But I think that it was really fun, and I really enjoyed playing that character. Also his arc, it sort of became full circle in the last season, even though in season 4, even though I think it was a bit rushed. But
was that to get you off to Montreal?
No, it was just like the writing of it. I thought it could have, they could have that big battle and the battle of the different armies and Cnut and Brida and Uhtred, all of that could have used at least an episode more, because we find out, okay, Cnut's kids are dead. Okay, we go to war. and let's have the war. Like, that's fast. And we found out that Cnut killed young Ragnar, and then like too much. Build it up. That was. But then again, I'm just an actor boy. I can't.
You didn't do like a Joey and Friends thing when they kill him off in the soap, where he comes in and he just like changes the whole script because he disagrees with it.
Yeah, well, I don't think I had the leverage to do that.
Well, we know what happened to Joey. He got shoved down an elevator shaft.
He did, yeah.
Yep.
And also I had to go to Montreal. So
yeah,
but
things worked out.
Things worked out. Worked out perfectly to die in Last Kingdom and then start in Valhalla. That is makes sense for the character.
I mean, that is kind of that does, that tracks.
Yeah. We were talking about being a baddie. It's always fun, I think, to play a character who has some depth and also who has some like quirkiness. And I got to put a lot of my own stuff into the character because they hadn't written all the episodes for season 3. When I got on, they had the first 2, and my character comes in episode 2. So Stephen, the head writer and executive producer, I was told he really liked writing for me by one of the producers. And I was supposed to be killed off in season 3. In the end, in the last episode, big battle with Uhtred. But they changed their mind around episode 4, I think. Remember?
Oh,
wow. Chrissy, one of the producers, came to me and said, "So we might not going to kill you off after all."
Oh, that's good.
Like, what? That doesn't make. But to die in the but Stephen, he really likes writing for you. So like, okay, so I'm not going to die. Well, Stephen has a fickle mind. We don't know. It's like,
let's wait and see.
So am I bored or sold? Well, then it kept going on until just days before we got the last scripts going. So am I going to die or am I not? We are 99% sure you're not going to die.
Great.
Well, he has changed his mind overnight. So it was like, oh fuck me. Like, but I survived, and so that was a.
That has to be a boost to confidence, though, because you said
that was nice.
you were nervous, and to get kind of that feedback.
Yeah, that was a nice recognition. I think that was really like, okay, that is nice. And I also started having a lot of fun with the character. I wasn't just part of the whole Dunholm crew. I remember having scenes. The name of the scene was Cnut starts manipulating blood hair. It's like, okay, this is my scene. This is like, okay. Cnut goes to like, okay, this is cool. This is cool. This is a.
Does that feel different as an actor when it's your scene versus, say, Uhtred's scene and you're in there as like a part of that scene? Does psychologically, is that like a switch where you maybe it's a confidence thing, or?
Well, it's I think it's your name of the scene. The scene could just be named Scene 7, So but
I guess with you being the focus, then
you could quite easily find out, like, okay, I'm leading this scene. This is they're reacting to me. I'm doing this is I am at A in the beginning and I end at C, whereas the other characters are just reacting or whatever. So you can see that and. But I think every scene you're in, you need to put the same energy and same focus and all the research and all your bits in. But there's just scenes where you're not just the guy in the bunch listening and then going, yeah, but Uhtred, maybe we should. Whereas you're the one trying to convince all of them to go to war or whatever, like, okay, this is something else. But it's also more fun because There's a lot of scenes in every show where it's just people reacting to other stuff. And I was really lucky to, I try not to use that word. I was really good. I've been working with this is my career. I've been working for this for many years.
Nice reframing. Immediate. You caught that immediately.
I love that, because I think I said lucky. I might have said lucky earlier, and you are absolutely right. People are so quick to say somebody is lucky for something, but
luck is a part of it. Luck is a part of it. It is.
Sure.
Because you need to be at the right place at the right time, have that voice or have that look or whatever.
But you have that because you put the work in.
Yeah, I was at the right place at the right time because I've been working for many years. That's why I ended up there.
Yeah.
And artists need to remember that and keep that close.
I also think sometimes people on the outside need to remember that, because they'll look at somebody maybe like yourself or anybody online and they'll go, oh, they're so lucky they got their role. Or some people could be like, oh, he's so lucky he got the Assassin's Creed role. But they don't take that second to think, well, there's the 10 years of really fucking hard graft before that. There's the rejection, applying for things, there's the showing up to small gigs. There's all this grind that goes into this one moment. So it's not lucky. Yeah, you landed the role, but that's because you put the work in before. And I think people are so quick when they're just looking in to be like, oh, it must be nice to be the actor on Assassin's Creed, when there's a lot that goes to that. It's not just, they didn't just pick you off the street and be like, Magnus, do you fancy being Eivor?
You there? Come here.
Do you want to just come to Montreal and do this? Yeah. It's not that simple. There's a whole thing before that.
I have talked to so many aspiring voice actors going, oh, I would love to do voice acting. How can I get an audition for Assassin's Creed, or can you help me? What did you do? And I always try to just help out, going, you need to train. Mm-hmm. You can't just maybe you have a great voice, but you have to get a voice coach, start acting, start doing improv, start trying, get into like an independent theater group, start making short films, film yourself, your friends, get something up, find out what you like, what you don't like, what you record yourself, all of that. Just the base work. And there's so much base work to do before you can even, and also like you can't get a casting for Assassin's Creed or another game unless you have an agent. Like, can you help me get an agent? No, I don't pick agents for agents pick people.
Yeah,
and they pick the actors that they see or hear, watch, and then you can say, okay, but that guy, he made some songs on YouTube, and then he was a famous. Yeah, he worked at those songs for years, and then he got a YouTube channel up and running, and then somebody found out, okay, this boy can sing. Let's give him. That's Bieber, man, just or whatever, like you never know the work people put in and
the grind behind.
I can just, like, you're an actor. That's a completely different field from the stuff that I do, but just what you're saying resonates a lot just with me, because I remember after I started doing my current PhD position, and it was also right after you had asked me to come back as a regular co-host, Dan. I remember telling my sister that I was like, oh, I feel so lucky being here. I feel so lucky that I get to do this. And I remember she just kind of looked at me and she went, well, yeah, sure, but and then she just started listing all the little or the bigger things that I'd done for the past 10, 15 years. And she was like, if you hadn't done all of this, and if they didn't think you were good at and qualified for stuff and you weren't there, then you wouldn't even have gotten there in the first place. So, it's thanks to the stuff that you've done that you are here. It's not just someone handing you something from the universe. You worked your ass off to get here. Yeah,
and it's nice to have that person. Yeah, near you who can tell you that. My wife did that. I remember a couple of years back. I thought I had a rough year. Like, I don't have a lot to do, and got like, I was my mood was swinging, and obviously I was happy and all of that with my family and my kids, but when for me, this work is also my passion, it's my hobby as well as my job. So when I'm not working, it's like
something's missing. Yeah,
I can't just go out like filming a television show or make a video game. It's like, sorry, I can't just do that. But I remember she went, hey, just write down, make a list what you've done. I think we're in November, beginning of November. It's like, just write down what you worked on this year. Just make a list. And then I had to look at my calendar and like, and I had done like 30 different work, like stuff like this and that production here and that 2 days and that. And we actually did work for a couple of, didn't I do 4 weeks on Assassin's Creed in the early spring? Oh yeah, I actually did that, and I did that. And it was the Conferencier at a music festival there, and okay, and I did play some theater as well. Like, shit, I've done huge load of shit.
Yeah. It's like, hey, look at me.
But just because I hadn't been doing stuff for a month like that I thought was important, then my mood just went.
But I guess
that's the line of business that I've chosen. It's fucked up. It's like it's always job to job to job. It's not like I don't have an average monthly pay from one job coming in, a pension, all of that. It's like, but then again, boom, boom, nothing. Boom, that's the job. But I guess you gotta love it.
There's that roller coaster, and you see with all sorts of industries like this, whether it's sports people, musicians, actors, that you'll get, you'll be working for so long, then you'll get this thing and you'll shoot up and you'll be on TV, and then it'll drop down and maybe you won't have anything for a while. Then you do this huge game and then you'll drop down and maybe not be quiet for a while. And you'll always be, I guess, chasing the next big thing, the next high, and you've got to manage that dip and trust the process, I guess, that there's going to be this next thing, because there's not many things bigger than Assassin's Creed. Obviously there's TV shows, there's movies. I guess it's hard. It must be hard not to look back on that and be like, shit, what do I do next?
Yeah. And also you need to start focusing on what can I do for myself. I also write. I also am beginning to produce stuff. I teach. You find out how to manage the whole thing. And then when you have the big gigs, you're taken out for a long period, and that's wonderful. And then in between then the big gigs will give you the pay that you need to relax for a bit, but you also see in Hollywood, many of the actors are also producing and writing and directing, and it's because this business first of all, you want to have your fingers down all of it, because at some point you don't want people to choose you, you want to choose yourself for the project like that you've chosen. Instead of just going, who want me? Like, well, I don't care about that. I want to do this. So we bought that so we can make it. And I want that director to, and that's also a way to do it, get your hands dirty and then do it yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, we'll wrap up in a second. The last thing I wanted to ask you, and it kind of hinted on that, was, getting to pick your own roles. Do you feel a draw to these Viking roles being from Denmark, or do you feel there's even a risk of being like typecast into those roles because you're from Denmark? Like, oh, we'll just, Magnus is great for the Viking roles. He's done these two things before. Or would you prefer to go like a different direction? How does that work? And where does your love lie?
Well, I've been riding the wave of Vikings as an actor, because it's been full on for a lot of years. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely dipping now.
but I'm happy that I got on that ship, that longboat.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, but I don't have an urge to play more Vikings. But if the character is right, then definitely.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a good story, it's all about the story to me. People ask me often, so what is your dream role? What would you like? I don't know. I don't need to play Hamlet or Superman. I just good story, good character, just something good, you know.
Yeah.
Something that when I read the script, I can feel the writer, the director, going, "Oh, this is from the heart. I wanna be part of this." Yeah. But I think as my background obviously has helped, but I'm also a fantasy nerd. Playing a Viking in a show with a little is try to be really realistic.
Yeah.
But Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that is a sci-fi.
Yeah.
Be careful to say fantasy about that, because some fans are really can't call it a fantasy.
As a fantasy fan, I would say that I think that we are way too strict with those boundaries.
Yeah, but so I play Lord of the Rings. I loved Lord of the Rings and all of that when I was a kid, and I played a lot of Warhammer Fantasy roleplay when I was younger. I've been playing a lot of like role playing with small minis and dice and character sheets and all of that. So, and I'm getting back to that now, actually.
Fun.
But not Warhammer. It's the world is D&D now. So
it is.
So that is my new jam, which is really fun.
Yeah.
And there's actually something coming up. It's going to be we're working on doing something that can be streamed.
Nice.
Ooh, as someone who is currently, what's it called? Binge streaming, live play D&D. I am very interested to hear about this when it's released.
Yeah. We'll love to talk more about it. It's. I think it's really exciting. Also, just me getting back to playing characters and I never did it online before, so it's interesting doing that.
It must be great having you part of a D&D campaign, a professional actor, voice actor. That must be great. You must really just get into the roles.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's I don't know how much I can say, but we've had session 0 now.
Nice.
Which was really fun, and it's cooking.
That's so fun. As a massive fan of Critical Role, which is like the entire main cast is our professional voice actors, I am so stoked to hear about this book. This sounds boss.
I didn't realize how big Critical Role was until we did. I traded all the MCM Comic Cons, which is the biggest Comic Con in the UK, and they have big actors there sometimes. Really, good actors, good shows. But when they had the Critical Role cast there, I've never seen anything like it. I didn't know
blown up over the past few years.
Yeah, I didn't know too much about it, but it was insane. It was like nothing else I'd seen.
Meaning that this is definitely, a space that people love.
They're really good. They're really fun. They're really sharp. They're so talented. They're so specific, and they know their shit. They've been playing D&D for many years.
Yeah.
And they're the group. It's really good too. And also it's because it's voice actors. So you would have people who would actually come in and be characters. And Matthew Mercer is just a brilliant
his capacity for storytelling. Ugh.
Yeah, the storytelling, but also just it's like, this is a great voice reel, mate. Like,
he's like a freaking soundboard, that guy.
Yeah, there's also really, I would give a shout out to Natural Six, if you haven't heard them, with Harry McIntyre. and Doc Cockle and some other Ben Starr, some other great voice actors and actors.
Natural Six, writing it down.
Natural Six. They have, I think, 20 episodes out now, and it's really fun. It's also D&D. Harry McIntyre is great. I keep when I say game master, but it's called dungeon master.
Yeah,
sure, whatever.
Game master was Warhammer. But he's brilliant. Also, his storytelling is really nice, and he also does a lot of great voices, and they're all so into their characters, and it's fun.
It is.
I don't tend to watch it because I don't have time to sit down and watch 4-hour streams with Critical Role. But I listen to it while running or doing chores or whatever, driving, and it works perfectly. So big shout out to Natural Six from me.
Wonderful. Awesome. Let's wrap this up because I do want to let people just ask you some questions.